Should a gardener only do gardening? I think this is a great topic for a conversation, because this summer has just proven that if you limit yourself, you can very quickly find yourself in trouble in the time when we should be making most of the money. So obviously in the summertime, everything or normally everything goes mad. And say if you're a mow, blow and go company and grass cutting is your income, you can make really good money. If you're doing X amount of lawns every day, you can make some really good money. But this year, you are going to struggle. And I know quite a lot of people are struggling right now because the grass isn't growing. And it's not grown for a number of weeks. We've had no rain. It's very dry. We're in a proper drought. But the interesting thing is, I've seen some companies this week actually say that a gardener should only do gardening. And what I find interesting is, why limit yourself? So for example, when I did gardening, a few years ago, I was just a gardener. That's all I did. But I was an all-round gardener. So I wouldn't just cut grass, I would do garden maintenance. And then whatever that entails. Come on, mate, I'll let you go. But then you get some people who specialise in grass cutting, in hedge cutting, in planting. But I think the time now, I think in the times we live in, I think you need to offer as many services as you can. I really believe that. Obviously, there's got to be some sort of, what's the word? Like harmony in your business. Like you wouldn't be a gardener and then do plumbing and then do electrics and then do bricklaying and then do tree work, because it's just going to get too messy. I believe you're not going to do any one of those well enough to build up a proper business. That's just my opinion. But you can be a gardener and you can offer jet washing, exterior cleaning. There is always that kind of joke between exterior cleaners where they go, oh, the gardeners have stopped cutting grass and they're starting to clean patios now in the winter. At the end of the day, guys, right, it's your business, okay? You're the ones making money. You're the ones that have got to provide for you and your family. Go out and clean a patio. It doesn't matter what anybody else says. If you want to offer a service, offer a service. As long as you do a good job, you charge fair, charge right, and the customer's happy, what's the problem? But I still think there's this kind of, I don't know, I can't think of the word, like an unspoken kind of rule where it's like, oh no, you stick in your lane, I'll stick in my lane, you can't cross over because this is what we do. Don't get me wrong, there are specialist exterior cleaners who are very good at what they do. They specialise in that area, they can use all the chemicals, they know how to get rid of black spots, etc., and proper biocide on roofs. It's a different world, and I'm not suggesting gardeners become specialist exterior cleaners. You can do, and if you can, great, you'll make good money. But I'm just thinking now, the world we live in, because the weather is so extreme, we have to diversify a little bit. And I think as a business, you've got to make money, and you can't limit yourself. Like, you wouldn't just do hedge cutting, because then you could say people, oh no, you can't cut hedges in nesting season, or I don't know, you can't cut hedges when it's -10 because you're going to damage the hedge. There's always someone who's going to say something that you can't do. If you've got enough work throughout the year to cut hedges every day, all day, great. You know, when I was gardening years ago, I always had work in the winter because I did all aspects of gardening. I would do turf laying, I would do a little bit of soft landscaping, I'd do a little bit of garden design. You know, I would do anything I could in my industry or in that industry that would bring money in and pay the bills. Whereas if I just did grass cutting, straight away you've got 3 months of the year that you're not going to earn any money anyway. But then now, you know, you can almost have, you know, nearly 2 months in summer not earning any money because nothing's growing. So it's just a word of advice really, and also I'd love to get your thoughts and comments, because I'm really liking this, because I am building up a nice little community on these videos. I've got certain people commenting who do, you know, different parts of gardening. Some do all the types of gardening. And like, there's a guy, William, I think his name, from either America or Australia. One of those. I'm sorry if I've got that wrong and you're seeing this, but you just made a point where you saw one of my videos asking about gutter cleaning. It's like, oh, I'm thinking about adding to like my business. Go for it. Gutter cleaning is fantastic. It pays very well. I always think of it as, in your working day, you've got 8 hours. 8 hours in a working day. I know some work more, some work less, but 8 hours is a standard working day. And really, you've got to make as much money as you can within that 8 hours. Okay? This guy said that he charges between £20 and £25 an hour for gardening. That's fine. In my opinion, you should be charging more. And I know some people have mentioned, depending areas they live, there is a limit to what you can charge per hour. I get it. I've lived in like rougher areas of Staffordshire, and some rougher areas in Staffordshire won't pay that kind of money, and you won't get the certain clientele that will pay the high end of gardening. But if you go to the posh ends, say like in parts of Cheshire, Wimslow, Knutsford, they will pay top end because they've got money. So I get it, depending the area that you're in. But let's talk about gutter cleaning. At the end of the day, gutter cleaning, let's say a 3-bed semi-detached house, standard, no extension, just a 3-bed semi, is £100 to clear their gutters. That's the price. So at the end of the day, they've called you because they've got a problem. So regardless if you're in let's say an affluent area or a quite poor area, that's the price. There's not really wiggle room, there's not room for negotiation. That's the price to solve that problem. And this is another reason why I like to promote other services, because certain services demand a higher price. It's that simple. And I think as a business, if you can do that and do it well, do it right, advertise for it and get the work, then go for it. You know, go out there and make as much money as you can within your working day. So what do you guys do? Do you specialise in certain areas of gardening? How do you feel about a gardener doing exterior cleaning, for example? Or, I don't know, I've seen some gardeners do delivery driving in winter. Hats off to you. You know, if you've got the work ethic to go out and start delivering parcels in winter just to keep some money in, fair play. You know, hats off to you. I think it's fantastic. Well done. But some people are, oh no, you can't, you have to stay in the lane, you can't do that. If you haven't got any work gardening, you shouldn't be gardening. Why? No, it doesn't always work like that. I saw a guy, he seems a really nice guy, and I won't name names, but he said on his channel that a gardener shouldn't be doing exterior cleaning. And I'm like, I don't agree with that. I really don't. I think when it comes down to it, it's your business. You've got to pay your bills. No one's going to pay your bills for you. You've got to do what you've got to do. I think there's a limit. You've got to do it kind of under your industry. But I think a gardener, anything exterior, really, unless you are very specialised, like a proper horticulturist or a proper plantsman, why not do gutter cleaning? Why not do patio cleaning? Why not, you know, I know companies that specialise in just weed spraying. All they do is weed treatments. That's amazing. If that's what you can do and you've got your marketing right, fantastic. But I think if you do have room in your diary and you're not filling that up with your kind of niche, then I don't think there's any harm in offering other services, as long as you don't make yourself look like a bit of a jack of all trades. You don't want to look like a cowboy. Do you know what I mean? You've always got that guy on his van will beat any quote. Man and van, shed clearances, house clearances, handyman work, gardening, landscaping, small building work, patio cleaning, general plumbing. I've seen it and I just think it's not a great image. But if you market yourself as a property maintenance guy, great. You know, it's all about how you put yourself across, how you market yourself, what your image is. It just makes me laugh. When I see that, it really does make me laugh. But that's just my thought for the day. I think it's a really interesting one because I'm seeing so many different people with so many different opinions and thoughts on this. I want to open up that dialogue. Drop it in the comments, what you do, how you run your business, what services you offer, what services you wouldn't offer, and let's start something where, you know, just show other people what you do. And also, someone else told me that I should be asking people to subscribe to my channel more. So please like and subscribe, follow the journey, because I've got loads more coming, loads more ideas for the channel and for work. So follow along, hit the subscribe button guys, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye for now.